Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to cover a very basic grip, the cross grip, very common in BJJ. Here you see Kron Gracie, who always goes for the cross grip. He uses it to set up all his attacks. He uses the cross grip very well. Here you see him again applying the cross grip. He's constantly adjusting, trying to reach as far behind as he can. And he will use that cross grip to create space and break his opponent's posture. So here we go. Let's go through the grip step by step. One of the most important things of using the cross grip is to make sure you're not in a rush to open your guard. Make sure your hips are connected to your opponent at all times. Your hips are loose, so you've got to stay connected. So if your opponent moves to the left, your hips just follow him effortlessly. My head is off the mat and I'm just following him with my hips. He goes to the right, I just follow him. It's very important to keep your hips loose and always connected with your opponent. Okay, so let's go through the grip. Step 1, I open the collar of the lapel I'm going for. Step 2, I reach in as far back behind his head as I can. So I reach in as deep as I can. My thumb is touching the back of his head. I straighten my wrist. This is the big difference that changes the nature of the grip. If my wrist is straight, I can pull him in very easily. So I keep my wrist straight. I pull him in. My elbow hits the mat. My elbow touches the mat. I keep my back straight. My back is completely pinned. My shoulders are pinned to the mats. This secures the grip even more. So if he tries to move or escape, he's practically lifting my entire upper body, which is very hard to do just with your head. So keeping the wrist straight, elbow pinned to the mat 45 degrees and shoulders pinned to the mat. Very hard for him to break that grip. That's how you secure the grip. Let's see that again from another angle. My opponent will grab my belt. He'll have his elbows in a neutral position. So step 1, open his lapel. I reach in right behind his head as deep as I can. I might use my abs a bit, sit up a little, and grab as far behind as I can. I bring him in and I pin my elbow to the mat. And I pin my shoulders to the mat. This way I'm fully attached to him. Let's see that once more. Nice and relaxed. I open the lapel, reach right behind his head, wrist straight, pin my elbow to the mat, and I put my shoulders right back, right to the mat. And I'm not squeezing, I'm just holding. A great submission that branches off of the cross grip is the guard kimura. I'll start it off with the cross grip again. My foot goes on his hip and I shrimp out. My hips are at an angle. I'm no longer underneath him. I close my guard. I go for wrist control and I push his arm straight up. Now my shoulders are also out. So I'm like 80 degrees, 90 degrees angle. I reach over, grab my own wrist, bend his elbow, and I turn. So the important part is how I'm angled outside. Let's see that again. Cross grip, foot on his hip, knee points out, foot on his hip, other leg is straight. I push off his hip and I shrimp outside a little bit. So I'm now on my left shoulder. I close my guard. I find his wrist. Push his wrist up. I can let go. I turn a little bit more. Make sure he's nice and secure. He's not going anywhere. I let go of the cross grip. I reach over, grab my own wrist, bend his elbow, and turn. And turn. So as you can see, I'm literally almost outside of him at an angle. The angle is the key. My hips are completely at a different angle. Let's see that again from another angle. Cross grip, foot on the hip, shrimp outside, and turn. And I close my guard. I'm on my right shoulder. I find his wrist, push it straight up, reach over, collect my own wrist, make sure he's locked in, trapped, and I'd finish the Kimura. Another submission that branches off the cross grip is the triangle choke, which is also a very useful submission to know from your back. So let's go. I'll start off with the cross grip again. Wrist is straight. I pull him in. This time my foot goes on the opposite hip. I shrimp to the left and I create space. I slide my knee through, pin it to his shoulder, and rotate all the way around, and I clamp him down. This is the key. It's like using my leg as a headlock, so all my weight is on my left leg so he doesn't go anywhere. I can let go of the cross grip. I grab his sleeve, I grab behind his elbow. This control is very important. I put it across and I rotate my other hip over. I turn so I'm at 90 degrees to him, and I'm in a position to submit. Let's see that again. Start off with the cross grip. Wrist is straight. Foot on the hip. I shrimp outside. Leg on the shoulder, and I clamp down, just like a headlock. As I'm clamping down, I go for wrist and elbow control. Pull it all the way across. As I'm pulling him across, I move my hips out a little bit in perfect angle for the triangle. The space between me and him, that's what's needed to make the triangle work. Otherwise he'll escape or stack me, so being in this position and having the hips in this position is what makes the triangle most effective.